Yes, people, welcome back to FPL Hive. Don't forget to check out the TikTok as well. Let's see what I've got in store for you because I think I've made a big mistake. So let's look at my game week 29 defense. And in goal, I've gone with Petrovic. I was quite frustrated on the weekend, of course, because I wanted them to keep a clean sheet in the early kickoff against Sunderland. Wasn't to be the case. It went 1-0 down for a Mayenda strike, but obviously fought back when Tavernier whipped that ball in for Evan Nilsson to get his points off the bench, which some returners were happy with. But I'm going to hope that they can potentially keep a clean sheet, or if not, then it has to be Thiago scoring because we'll get to my attack. And obviously, that makes sense. But Petrovic is going to start in goal. I've got Dubravka on the bench who could be playing away at Everton. But for me, I just think Everton coming off the back of the confidence win at St. James's Park, they're going to want to kick on. And I can't see Burnley keeping a clean sheet. So in my defense, as you can see, I'm going to go from right to left. I've got Virgil van Dijk. So Virgil van Dijk actually came in for William Saliba. Funny enough, both conceded, but they both scored. So I didn't really gain too much from that because I actually thought, okay, if I've got Gabriel, I didn't need to double up on Saliba. Of course, I could have kept Saliba and still got basically the same amount of points, plus more with the bonus. But I went with Van Dijk, and of course, I was happy he scored. So I don't regret that decision, especially when they're going into this game now against Wolves away, which I think, again, Liverpool are going to be very dangerous from set pieces. I've then got Gabriel. Of course, got the assist yesterday, got DEFCON as well, and I believe he got bonus. So that worked out perfectly as well for me in terms of Gabriel. He's going to be a mainstay throughout the season. But the thing is, I don't have to say much about Gabriel because I believe that if I've got him, you've all got him as well. So you're not really gaining with that unless you had the double up of Saliba and Gabriel potentially. And then, of course, I've got Nico O'Reilly. As you can see, people, he's got the yellow flag highlighted. Came off against Leeds in around the 65th, 70th minute. I think this is going to be a tricky one. If you were asking me, do I think he starts? I'm going to say no. So I wouldn't advise you bringing him in, even though he plays as a midfielder, even though he's listed as a defender. And my reason for that is this. City have a lot of fixtures at the moment. They've got the Champions League return in a week after as well. I think with Nico O'Reilly, they could potentially afford to rest him for that game against Forest, knowing that they should beat Forest with the depth they have. Someone like Tijani Reinders must be chomping at the bit to get some minutes. Rodri and Reinders in midfield, you can't see that really going wrong against Nottingham Forest. And there's one big thing that I want to make note of, and you guys can now make note of it. What happened in the return fixture? Tijani Reinders scored against Nottingham Forest at the City ground. Pep is the type of manager that might remember that. He had a great impact. It could be the type of game where he's like, Nico O'Reilly, take your rest. We've got big enough games. Reinders, do you remember what he did against them last time? Yeah, do a part two. So watch out for that. And if you're going for someone a differential, maybe just for this game week before you're looking at wild carding, I think Reinders could be the one. And then, of course, we'll go into my midfield. So in my midfield, I've got Semenyo on vice captain. At the moment, he is not captain. I'll tell you why. But of course, Semenyo is a man in form at the moment. I wouldn't be advising you to bring him in if you haven't got him. But with players like me who have had him for a number of game weeks, I know that he's vital. I know that he's getting in a lot of central areas. He's getting in scoring areas. And the goal he scored against Leeds, that was a striker's type of goal. Across a defender, 6 yards out, taps it home. And that is why I've got Antoine Semenyo in my team. Guys, don't forget, make sure you're liking this video and subscribing. If you haven't already as well and you like short format, check out the TikTok, FPL Hive. On to other players. I've got Morgan Rogers in my team. He's starting to concern me. I'll be honest with you. I just think Villa have hit a bit of a rock. They're struggling to get results. I've already said when Morgan Rogers is not quite performing, maybe Villa are not performing, or it could be when Villa are not performing, Morgan Rogers is not also. But I feel like when they do perform, Morgan Rogers is maybe the catalyst alongside maybe like a John McGinn for that. But they're obviously missing John McGinn and Yuri Tillemans massively. Now, they've got a massive game. Chelsea, Aston Villa. Man United are now 6 points clear of Chelsea. You've got Aston Villa now below Man United. This is a massive game for teams that are looking to make Champions League. What will happen at Villa Park? We will just have to say, let's wait and see. I've got Bruno Fernandes. Of course, after 45 minutes, I was dreading it against Crystal Palace. Of course, the red card to Lacroix, gets his goal from the penalty spot, gets the assist for Sesko, ends up with 3 bonus points. That's why we love Bruno Fernandes, because at big moments, he can deliver when needed under pressure. He will start against Newcastle, a team that is all right in Europe, but Newcastle, St. James's Park, not quite the fortress you would expect this season, but we all know when teams play Manchester United, they turn up the heat because Manchester United are the biggest team in the country. So let's see what happens. Bruno Fernandes will start in my midfield. Harry Wilson is the transfer I've bought in already. And guys, you might be thinking, Ty, you're moving a bit mad. Why have you done it early? Look, he's got a little bit of an ankle roll. They play on Wednesday. They're in great form at the moment. Harry Wilson is in great form. I believe it will be enough for him to start the game. I think when I look at his game week 31 fixture against Burnley at home, I think he'll be there and obviously he'll be vital. I've taken a risk and gone early. Let's see what happens. If I roll the dice and I'm wrong, cool. If I roll the dice and I'm right, this is what makes me decorated in terms of my FPL heritage and why I am where I am. But we will find out. Make sure you like the video just for that bit. But guys, we will find out. So Harry Wilson has come in. Declan Rice has gone out. I actually have £3.2 million in the bank. And I'll tell you what I'll potentially do with that when you continue watching the video. I've then got Ryan starting. I was disappointed because it was between him and Tavernier. And I should have gone with Tavernier, really. On set pieces, dead ball specialist, great at whipping the ball in. He got the assist. Ryan did nothing. But I'm going to stick with him for now. But it might be a short term. I think I could have got that one wrong. I think he's a very good player. Like watching him, difference between a good player and an FPL player. And I've learned that over my years playing this game. And then we go into the attack. Erling Haaland at the moment has the captaincy. Now, he's got the captaincy because I've heard that he could be back. And then there's rumors that he could be out still. We don't know. Pep might not give much away. But I think it's worth keeping him and starting him as captain in case he is fit, because then you'll be like, oh my God, what have I done? Because, of course, on the weekend, I had Bruno Fernandes as my vice captain, got my 26 points. Take that all day. So I'm going to keep Haaland in at the moment. Thiago is, of course, starting Bournemouth away. This is what I meant. I've got Petrovic in goal, but I've got Thiago in attack. If he concedes, I want it to be Thiago. If they keep a clean sheet, it is what it is. Sometimes you can't have the best fixtures for your whole team. You've just got to play the game week in front of you. I'm not expecting a green arrow. I've had 4 green arrows in the last 4 weeks. I'm expecting people to catch me. I'm expecting people to gain rank on me. But unfortunately, this is just the way it is. I'll take 4 good weeks to 1 bad week. So that is the way it is. Guys, one thing I will mention about my team is obviously I've got Strand Larson on the bench, Alderete. If Nico O'Reilly don't play, Alderete comes in against Leeds away, probably gets DEFCON, but they'll concede. And I've got Strand Larson at the moment coming in for Haaland. Now, with my 3.2 million in the bank, I've got no free transfers. I could potentially know if Haaland is out and they obviously blank in 31. They've got an away game after this as well. I believe it is against West Ham away, who are fighting for their lives. I could put Haaland on my bench, take Strand Larson out for Hugo Ekitike and take a -4. Start Hugo Ekitike. The other dilemma from that is what if Harry Wilson doesn't start? I could end up with 10 players. This is a big game week for my team. I think other people will look at my team and be more worried than I am. I'm thinking it's one game week. I can get through it. I can navigate, because if I do, I'll be fine. But let's see what happens, guys. Get your comments in. Make sure you like the video. And like I said, make sure you're checking out the TikTok as well. FPL Hive. We're on our way to getting that channel growing and booming. So I really appreciate the support. And this channel here, well, we need that 1K subscribers. So follow the journey and make sure you check it out. And I'll see you on Game Week 29.